Hey friends, my name is Jackson and welcome back to my channel, Gender Not Found. Son of a bitch. I know it's a little late to be recording, but if I don't record this tonight, then I'm not going to be able to upload it for a few days. So, recording it now. Sorry. So, this is two different stories from two different subreddits, and usually I don't do that, and I wouldn't do that, but the content is, like, really similar. Like, it's not related or anything, which is what it... If I was doing, like, two different stories from two different subreddits, normally it would be, like, posted by the same person, or about the same story, or whatever, but, like, the content just happens to be related. So, I'm gonna just... so I'm gonna be reading two stories... Damn it. I'm gonna be reading two stories, I'm gonna be reading two different stories, and the first one is pretty long, so the whole video is literally just these two stories. One of them is from Best of Brother Updates, the other one is from Am I the Asshole? Well, actually, technically, this first one was originally posted in Am I the Asshole, actually, so... I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read them both, and then, yeah, so the entire, like, video is just these two stories, but the first one is, like, really long. Another YouTuber read this whole thing, and it just happened to... and it took, like, an hour, like, with all the updates and everything. So, the original post is from r/am I the asshole, and there was a bunch of updates. We're gonna read this. Am I the asshole for not taking in my brother-in-law who peed on my stuff and blamed my cat? I'm 29 female, and my husband Ted, 34 male, and I have been together for 10 years. We met early in college and dated all throughout. I graduated before him and took a semester for traveling while he finished, so we could move to another state. He ended up having to repeat some classes, so when I came back we couldn't move yet, and I had no place of my own. So I moved in with him. And his roommate/brother Ash, 32 male, while Ted finished school. Before moving in, I made sure that Ted cleared it with Ash that I was bringing my male cat with me. They had a dog who was old, but Ash said he was fine with it. About 3 weeks after moving in, I started noticing that our bedroom started to smell a lot like pee, and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. My cat is toilet trained, so I knew it wasn't him, and the dog couldn't go into our room because it was on the second floor and he had hip problems. I started finding clothes on the floor smelling like pee. I asked Ted, and he said he had no idea. After 3 months of frustration and this happening about 2 times a week, I asked Ash if he was bringing the dog upstairs, and he said no. At this point, I'm fed up. I stopped leaving clothes everywhere, but I was still finding pee in my shoes, my throw pillows, and things like that. Ew. Gross. After breaking down one day, Ash suggested it was my cat marking his territory. As male cats are known for doing that, he said it made sense, as it was only on my things and it was a new place. If any of y'all have cats, you know that cat pee smells different than human pee. I have smelled cat pee before. I used to have a kitten, and she actually... Funny story about my kitten. I'm gonna just tell this quickly before I continue. But when I had a kitten, she had a clear litter box because she was one of my friends I had a friend at the time, and it was one of her kittens. Well, technically it was a support worker, and then I, like, moved on to a different support worker because that didn't work out. But basically, my support worker's cat had a few kittens, so I would go over and, like, see the kittens pretty regularly, and I was getting ready to adopt one, and anyway, and so then I moved in with my sister, and I was able to adopt a kitten, but obviously I didn't keep the kitten because I was living with my sister and it was a terrible situation, and I kind of wish I'd been able to keep the kitten, but it didn't work out that way. But she was only a few months old, so luckily she shouldn't have any problem getting adopted because, like, people like kittens. If they're going to the shelter, they generally are looking for a kitten, even though I think that's ridiculous and just people don't like older cats. Anyway, so before I get into that and start crying because I miss her every single day, but when I had a kitten, when I first brought her home, she had a clear litter box at my friend's when she was at my friend's place when she was like a kitten. The kittens had a clear litter box. So and I just had bought a new bed because I moved into a new place, and obviously I couldn't bring my old bed. So I still had. So my mom said. So I was asking my mom to help me take the plastic off the mattress, but she didn't have the time, so we just kind of left it on. And the cat, because she used to have a clear litter box, but I bought her a different litter box, and she didn't understand that, like, okay, this is your litter box, you have to use it. So instead of peeing in the litter box, she used to pee on my bed, and I only discovered this because one time she stepped in the pee, and then she tracked it all over my bed, and I smelled cat pee, like, I could smell the cat pee, and after a couple of days, because she was peeing on the plastic on my mattress, so she was peeing right in that spot between the wall and my bed where the plastic was sticking out, she was peeing there, so there was the pee was building up there because she didn't understand. And luckily, I was able to get my support worker to give me the old litter box, like her old litter box. So I bought the clear litter box home, and my mom helped me like clean up the area and strip the bed and stuff. And luckily, none of it got on my stuffed animals because that could have been a fucking disaster. But luckily, like my stuffed animals and dolls were fine, and I checked really carefully, and they didn't get any like cat pee on them. But the kitten was peeing on the plastic on my mattress, so there was plastic in between the two mattresses, and it was sticking out between the wall, and she was peeing there. And my mom helped me clean everything up and like get rid of the plastic and strip the bed, and like then she had some like special Febreze that was also odor eliminating and also like kind of like Lysol but for like a fabric area because you can't just spray Lysol on your mat. So I sprayed it like I sprayed the whole mattress down and everything, especially where the cat tracked like pee all over my bed. And so she was peeing right there, and luckily, and so after we got the bed like stripped off and we got the plastic thrown out, and then we gave her like the clear plastic litter box after my support worker gave me the clear plastic litter box, and I was able to get it for her, and then she started just peeing in the clear plastic litter box again, and I got really freaked out because once she tracked a wet footprint over my bed, and I thought I thought it was pee again, but I smelled it and it didn't smell like anything. So and I discovered that she was actually just like she would step in her water sometimes, and then like with one of her feet, and then and then she would like track the water everywhere, so there would be this like wet footprint sometimes on my bed, but it was just water because she liked to play in the water, or like sometimes she would step in the water and then she would track water. It was so cute. I mean, the peeing in my mattress thing wasn't as cute, but tracking her accidentally stepping in the water or like splashing around in the water a little bit. Anyway, it was adorable, and she was fine, and like everything was fine. We got everything sorted, but it was like one of those stories that wasn't funny at the time, but looking back on it now, it's kind of funny. And also, I just loved having a cat, and I wish I could have that again, and at some point down the line, because, like, I'm not giving up on having another cat, but this time I'd probably just go get a cat from the shelter. But maybe I wouldn't get a male cat because apparently they mark their territory. I did not know about this. Anyway, I trust my cat with my whole heart, so I set up a camera in our room. I was paying rent, and the boyfriend knew about it, so I figured this was the way to find out where the pee was coming from. Lo and behold, Ash was coming into our room and peeing on my stuff. What the fuck? What is wrong with this guy? When I saw the video, I packed my things and Kat and went to stay with a friend until Ted finished college and we moved. Yeah, no shit. When all of this happened, I refused to confront him because EW, entitled woman? No. What is ew? It, what is EW? Oh, it's ew. It's literally the word ew. Jeez. Okay. How did I not know that? It said EW, I just assumed it stood. Anyway, because ew, and Ted dealt with that. I haven't really spoken to Ash since. He was the best man at the wedding, but we tend to keep clear of each other at family gatherings and stuff. With the pandemic, Ash lost his job and apartment and is honestly struggling financially. He asked if he could move in with us, and I honestly don't want to because he peed on my stuff. He was 25 years old when it happened. He was a grown-ass man. Now the whole family is calling in and texting telling me I'm an ass for leaving him homeless in the middle of a pandemic, but it wasn't their stuff getting peed on. What the fuck? I'm just gonna put that out there. What the fuck? This guy, does he have like a mental condition or something? Because this is really weird, creepy, red flaggy, what the fuck behavior. This is something he should be at least in therapy for, possibly a mental hospital. I don't really know. I mean, I was in a hospital for a few days, but like, that was for different reasons that I'm not gonna get into right now. But like, I've never. This is weird. This is really weird. And by the way, I've had trauma for like, I don't know, 14 years and probably a lot longer because I probably had trauma as a kid, but it was just like never diagnosed as a kid because, but like, I never peed on someone's stuff. I've done like a few things that I shouldn't have done, like stealing. When I was like 15 or 16, I used to steal money from my mom so I could buy candy because I just wanted more candy. And I was living with my mom and I would steal cash from her purse at night and then lie about it. And by the way, I told her that. I told her during the pandemic like a year ago. So she knows and like everything, like we're cool and all, but like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I admit that was pretty messed up, and I shouldn't have lied about it, especially because my mom trusts me wholeheartedly, and I want to have that trust with my mom. So you can't just steal stuff and then expect to have trust with anyway. Am I the asshole? Am I holding a grudge because he peed on my stuff? But he is losing his home and his cat deserves a home. But it was made very clear that I cannot just take in his cat and leave him to the elements. I know I'm justified, but now Ted said that he couldn't do that to his brother, and the job market is better here for his type of job. I just want to say, if I found out my brother or sister or roommate or friend or like, if I found out anyone in my life was peeing on my partner's stuff or like peeing on the stuff of someone I cared about, and then it was up to me and them if, we let him move in or not, I would be like, abso-freaking-lutely not. Alright, y'all get ready for the first edit. Sorry about my sniffling and snorting, by the way. I'm having a bad day with my allergies. But, you guys don't really care because I've been doing this for a long time and I had allergies before, so whatever. Edit number 1. Ooh, thank you for taking all the time to read my current dilemma. I'm currently at work, so I had to stop answering for a while, but I will get back to everyone in the morning. A few questions that have popped up a couple of times, and the first one was exactly what I said. Is he in therapy? He was last I checked after Peegate. His mom made him go. That's how we found out. Why did he do this? Ash and Ted were and are best friends, and me coming into Ted's life was threatening enough that he wanted to break us up. Hang on. Why would lying about the cat peeing on your stuff break you up? Like, if that would have done anything to anyone, if you decided to take action against that, wouldn't you have, like, just on his word alone, without the camera in the room, let's just say you decided that he was telling the truth and that the cat was peeing on stuff. How does that break you and Ted up? Isn't the one who suffers in that situation the cat? Like, wouldn't you take him to the vet, or, like, take him to a shelter, or give him to someone else, or, like, the cat suffers in that scenario. If you, like, decide to take action for that, you would take action against the cat, right? You wouldn't do anything like, how does that even work? Clearly it didn't work, and it only made Ted go no contact for a time. His therapist suggested that Ash had to make amends with his brother, according to my mother-in-law, who was the one who reconnected them, and ask for forgiveness for his actions. They reconnected, and as long as I didn't have to be with him, and he never stepped into our home, I could live with it. Why was he in the wedding? When we were getting married, the party was more for our parents. We didn't mind the courthouse, but my parents wanted a big wedding, because I'm the first of my sisters to get married. All my sisters and all of Ted's brothers were bridesmaids and groomsmen, and we couldn't exclude him. Ted and Ash are best friends after all, and as long as I didn't have to take pictures with P-Man himself and he didn't give the speech, I didn't care. Why can't any of his family take him in? We live in the East Coast, and the rest of the family lives in the West Coast. After many comments, I'm starting to doubt this next part, but I'll still say it. I'll say it still because it's the information I have. Ted's profession is much more employable in the East Coast than in the West, so him moving across would diminish his chances of finding a new job in his field. I am in the process of convincing all of the brothers, there's 8 more, to pitch in a bit, so between us all, he can stay there. Okay, what? Why do they think I'm an ass? His whole family is very, very forgive and forget. They have forgiven things that are appalling to me. Car stealing, faking a college degree and keeping the money, etc. Wait, it doesn't say he was doing this, but I'm assuming it was also Ash, perhaps? I'm not sure because we don't have clarification on that, so I'm not going to judge him on that because I have no evidence for that whatsoever. So they really think that this was just a one-time thing and he's outgrown it and I just need to get over it. Are you kidding? Did he apologize? He apologized to Ted, but never to me, which I am a bit bitter about. I was considering accepting an apology, but you guys are right, and that would be self-serving of him and a way to get back into my house and potentially give me PTSD, spelled PEETSD. I'm sorry, I promise I'm not making fun. I just saw a chance and had to take it. Okay. Did he pay for the stuff he peed on? Well, since I didn't know where the pee was coming from, I just kept washing the pee things. After the video, I did throw everything out that I remember had been peed on that did not hold sentimental value, but there's 2 pairs of shoes currently in my home who have been golden showered. He did not pay for the stuff I threw out, and honestly, it never occurred to me to ask him to. I just cut my losses. You have video evidence of this, so I just want to say you could probably take him to court and sue for, like, I don't know, destruction of property or some crap. Destruction of property. If this isn't destruction of property, it's probably something else. I'm assuming it's pretty illegal, so I just gonna put that out there. Just gonna put that out there. What is your husband's stance on this? Ted is the best human in the universe, and he honestly puts up with enough of my shenanigans that I would legit let P-Man move in if it made Ted happy. As soon as everything happened, he was disturbed and cut him off completely, but after his mom said the therapist thought it would help him to make amends, they made up. Ted has never once pressed me to be with Ash, or for him to come to our house. When we got married, he told me it was absolutely okay if I said no to Ash being the best man, but I love him enough to deal with him when it's necessary, such as Christmas, except 2020, and big family events, for obvious reasons. So, yeah, except 2020, because, COVID and stuff. Actually, can I see the video? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but no. As pissed, hee as I'm enjoying all these pee puns. I love puns. As pissed, hee as I might be at the man, I do believe in privacy. When it happened, I only sent it to Ted so he would believe me, because I honestly wouldn't believe me if he told me one of my sisters was peeing in his stuff. Well, luckily that's not happening. As far as I know, he has only shown it to its parents to provide proof that we weren't making things up, and 2 of the older brothers, because, I don't know, they're guys and curious. I want to thank you all for my awards. They're lovely and shiny and make me feel like I just won the Olympics. You guys are the best. I also want to say thank you for the amazing jokes and nicknames. If I lose this battle and he moves in, I will be leaving him a litter box and puppy training pads in the guest room just to rub his nose in it. Hee hee. You guys are the best, and I promise to keep answering comments and messages as soon as I can. Edit number 2 and mini update. So, P has hit the fan in my family, and my day has been in the family, and my day has been awful. Some of the other brothers saw this post and all of your comments, and the family didn't have the whole story, and apparently neither did I. Brothers number 3, number 4, and number 8 are on their way there to deal with it because I'm way in over my head. I'd like to give a big F you to the messages telling me that I probably had it coming, that I wanted it, or that I deserved it. What is wrong with people on the internet? I hope the P-Man visits you and pees on your toothbrush. Thank you for your concern and all the nice comments. Thank you for the reality checks. Thank you for opening my eyes to my many faults. Things suck right now, but hopefully I'll be able to give you guys closure or at least more answers in a couple of days. Stay hydrated. Final update. The Modmin team has agreed that the update is not up to standard with this sub's guidelines. If you are interested in finding out what happened anyway, you can find it here, but please read at your own discretion and try to be kind. Peegate update self. And then it has, like, a... what the fuck? Okay, the Modmin team of Am I the Asshole agreed that my update was not up to standard with the sub's guidelines and decided it would be best for it not to be there. A special thank you to another user for telling me I could write it on my own page. I apologize in advance for the very long read. A lot of things happened. Here is the link to the first part. But it's all here, so we're just going to read it anyway. Too long didn't read. P-Man is not moving in. Thank God. Each section that is divided was written at different times throughout the last few days. I didn't want to overwhelm you and make you wait with 6,000 edits, so here is the whole story. So I showed Ted the post as you guys suggested, and after reading some comments, Ted understood that he had done wrong by me, and even though I was okay with it, it was still inappropriate of him and the whole family to be how they are. He apologized profusely for not demanding more from himself, his family, and his brother when the whole thing happened, and that Ash moving in with us was absolutely not going to happen. Good. I'm happy that Ted came to his senses. I figured he would. Being an engineer too, we asked some professional contacts if there were any job opportunities for Ash. One of those contacts ended up being someone who works for the same company Ash did, and told Ted that Ash hadn't been fired, that he had quit, but that he was welcome to have his job back. Are you... Yeah, this guy, something's seriously wrong. Something's seriously wrong with this guy. Okay. Ted went to confront Ash about this. We live a couple hours away. While I was at work, I worked 2 jobs. One at night, 4 to 12 p.m., and one part-time during the day, because I want to and it brings me joy, not because my husband is lacking in any way. Oof. Yeesh. You work 2 jobs because it brings you joy? Unless you're, like, a veterinarian or something. Or, like, I don't know, a reptile expert or something. Okay. Anyway, moving on, and found some stuff that started a chain of events and truth unveilings that, to be honest, just make me sad more than anything else. Yeah, I know I'm being spineless again and should be outraged, but I'm just tired right now and want to just sleep, but I've gotten enough nice and hateful messages that I figured I owed you guys closure. I'm probably going to get crap for sharing all of this, but right now I don't care. This is a resumed, yet still very long version of everything that happened since my original post. And you guys gotta remember that it is a... Sorry, I'm just trying to like figure this out. Okay. Anyway. Okay. B stands for brother of Ted. If I say wife number X, please refer to the number of brother, not that any of them have multiple wives. What? Brother number 1, doctor with some type of military background. Wife, 3 kids. Brother number 2, surgeon. Wife, 2 dogs and a bearded dragon. Aww. Brother number 3, engineer, fiance, and dog. Brother number 4, teacher and researcher, wife, 1 kid. Brother number 5, question marks, works in IT, not sure of details, wife. Brother number 6, doctor, single and ready to mingle. Brother number 7, chef/businessman, wife, 1 kid. Brother number 8, car sales, 3 kids, fish. Aw. brother number 9, Ted, wife and cat, and brother number 10 is Ash. What the fuck? So I am having trouble following this system. Okay, I sat down with Ted, but aw, she has a bearded dragon. Aw. I mean, they have a bearded dragon. That's so cute. I want a bearded dragon. I sat down with Ted to talk about everything that you pointed out. He apologized immensely. We cried together, promised to do and be better. As you are now all aware, his family is complicated and not rocking the boat was embedded into his heart. We both agreed to go to individual therapy, and if both therapists suggest we do couples, then we do couples therapy too. He ordered a t-shirt that said, "The most okayest human in the universe," to cheer me up a bit. I love that. Anyway, Ted called his connections and finds out that Ash didn't quit, is pissed about all the drama this is causing, and goes to confront him. He goes into his place, and Ash is not there. Ted has a key for emergencies. He goes in anyway and waits. He eventually has to go to the guest bathroom, and it's locked, so he goes into his room to use that bathroom and found a situation, was the word he used when he told me. He called me, tells me to stay home and that he would be home later because he had to involve his family and didn't want to subject me to more than he already had, which had me thinking the worst. But at that point I was scared and just told him to come back soon and be safe. What the fuck? Okay, what I don't, About 2 hours later, wife number 8 calls me crying to ask if I'm okay. I say I don't know. Ted just told me vaguely about the situation, and I haven't heard anything since. She asks if I want to know, which I did, and then she starts off by apologizing, saying that they didn't know the whole story, that brother number 5 had read my post and called brother number 7 to complain about me sharing the story online. Apparently having your brother-in-law pee in your stuff isn't common enough that he knew it was our family by reading it. /S. Brother number 7 reads the story and says there is a few things about my version of events that sound off to him. He contacts brother number 2, who contacts their mom, and by this point they've all read it. I did have missed calls from brother number 6 and brother number 2 that I didn't answer because I was working. Anyway, as many of you guessed, the therapist part of Ash's story was sketchy. Turns out this therapist was he he had been going to was a friend of his with zero actual training and just pretended to be his therapist so his mom would get off his back about it. He faked going to therapy, which his mom paid for about 3 years. My mother-in-law found out and kept it secret, which she excused by saying she had forgiven other brothers for worse. All of this came to light because brother number 2 confronted her about Ash not apologizing to me, because they were under the false impression that he had apologized and I had forgiven him, since I have a track record of being a doormat and the fact that he was best man, which was why they were pushing him to live with us. They also didn't know the territorial incident had been going on for months. They knew it was a few instances, but not as many as there actually were. Back to wife number 8, she tells me brother number 3, number 4, and number 8 were coming because Ted had asked for help, which freaked me out, and she tells me to talk to wife number 1 because she could use some support. I hang up, and Ted had been calling me while I was on the phone, and he just kept saying he's so sorry and that his brothers will take care of everything, so I just tell him to spit it out that I just spoke with wife number 8 and didn't currently have the patience to be kept in the dark, and apparently Ash has some mental issues and absolutely despises me and had pictures of me on his bathroom covered both in pee and man juice. He apparently also had some of brother number 1's daughter, female 14. What the fuck? I honestly don't know what she did to him to deserve this. She did nothing. She did nothing. She probably did nothing because this guy's just fucking insane. He's a psychopath. Ted, disgusted and enraged with this, goes into the bedroom and finds in his nightstand photo books that were supposed to be at his parents', which you can take a wild guess whose pictures were cut out and scratched off. All the comments about psychotic behavior were more accurate than I would have liked, which he drops out of disgust when he sees our wedding photo yellow-stained. He goes to pick it up, and the cat is under the bed, frightened and malnourished. When he coerces her out, she is also covered in dried pea and man juice. Oh my fucking gosh. What the fuck? The cat too? At this point, brother number 6 calls him because I wasn't answering. Ted tells him what he found and that Ash is not home, and that he had to take the cat to the vet, and brother number 6 tells him to stay there until they found out where Ash is. They start calling each other. Brother number one is furious, threatened to kill him because of his daughter, which is the reason he wasn't one of the ones to come. What the fuck? Now all of the brothers know, and there's a lot of feelings going around, ranging from fury to concern, and they don't know where Ash is. This is getting fucking insane. Ted calls his mom to confront her about lying and covering and reuniting them, although she didn't know he was lying about the therapist when she reunited them, and she cried and said that she knew brother number one through number eight had tormented Ash when he was little, and she had done nothing about it and failed as a mother, and that she had been trying to protect him now to make up for it. I do remember when we got married, my mother-in-law was very on top of Ash, and I just thought she was just being motherly. Later, Ted told me he also remembers his mom asking if it was a good idea to have him as best man, which we were both too naive to notice as odd as she had always pushed Ted to be present in Ash's life, which she told him in their confrontation that the more present Ted was in his life, the more stable he was. She said she never told him because she didn't want to put that kind of pressure on him, Ted, and that by the time she realized he had been lying, he seemed fine and had outgrown his issues. After hanging up on his mom is when he called me apologizing and tells me all of this. I called out of my other job because there's no way I can go to work like this. I have a lot to think about, but I'll keep you posted. I called Ted and told him I was on my way because someone has to take care of the cat. He said he didn't want me seeing any of that, but I'm honestly just worried about the cat, and at this point I'm just numb and want to feel useful. Alright, try and read more. About an hour into the drive, I got a notification from my Ring, the doorbell that records the people at your door, and it's a delivery of sunflowers, which are Ted's favorite flower. He is very secure in his masculinity. Please don't make this into a thing. What? What? Who would make that into a thing? Why do people make that into a thing? That's stupid. I tell the delivery person to read me the card. With this type of doorbell, you can talk to the person at the door, and it's from Ash, saying something along the lines of, OP, me, did me dirty by sharing our problems online. Anything that comes from it will be on her, and I just broke down. I had to pull over and just cry my heart out. I called my neighbor to please take the flowers and throw them out, and sent Ted a picture, and I just drove back to go to my sister's place because I honestly don't know what to do. I'm so lost and this is so messed up. And I had a huge family before any of this happened, and I feel like I lost a lot of people who I love that I thought also thought of me as family, but not even in my sheltered version of the world can I see or justify any of all of the things that are happening right now, and I don't want to lose my husband, and I'm worried about the cat. I'm scared Ashton is going to hurt himself or my husband. I guess Ashton is Ash's full name. And I called wife number one, and she is so scared for her daughter, and I don't want her to be scared. But I don't have it in me to console her because I'm just as scared, and I rationally know none of this is my fault, but I am the common point between everything that's happened, and I just don't know what to do. I'm okay, or as okay as a person can be in this type of situation. I'm at my parents' house, and Ted is here, and he brought me my cat, and life sucks less with a cat on your lap. Ah, where to start? You'll probably have 1,000 questions by this point, and I don't know how to answer any of them since I've just been wanting to post all of this. Maybe I won't post it at all and keep you all wondering. I will say both this situation and some of the messages I've gotten have made me lose some of my faith in humanity, but I guess that's part of what makes us human. You want to know what's the worst part out of all of this? I have legitimate PTSD, and I don't say that in a quirky way anymore. Every time I hear someone peeing, as in the pee hitting the water, I get the sense of dread in my chest, and the world just becomes a bit staticky. Going to the bathroom myself has been a whole experience. I had my first therapy appointment too. We luckily and tragically live in a world where you can just throw money and make anything happen. Thanks, Daddy, for paying for an emergency shrink. That was an update of how I'm doing since some of you have asked, but I'll just get to the point and the reason of why you're all here. What happened to Ash? After the flower delivery, I just couldn't deal with this anymore and made my way back to my sister's. Ted immediately left and came to me. Brother number six was the one coordinating everything else. Out of all my brothers-in-law, he is my favorite, and I don't care if the others see this. Most of them have been trash to me at some point or other. Clearly number 10 taking the cake. I haven't had it in me to ask what's going to happen to Ash. I think he needs help above everything else. Brother number one clearly thinks differently, and I guess he's trying to get the police involved since his daughter is a minor. I asked Ted to see the pictures. Brother number two said to document everything, because I thought it would help. It did not. It just raised more questions, but hey, I have a therapist now that can talk me through them. I guess right now I don't have anything more to say. I'm sorry to have wasted your time, but I'm sure this isn't over, and I'll have more to say maybe later, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Then there's another update. Well, they found Ash. Brother number three, number four, and number eight showed up at his place, and he was there this time. Apparently, he hadn't noticed Ted had been there and didn't know about the shitstorm that was coming. Punches were thrown, yelling more punches, and one appointment to the ER later. Ash is currently in a psychiatric hold, being evaluated for a myriad of things. Ted's mom keeps trying to get in touch. I don't know if it's to apologize or to inquire about what's happening, because in general, everyone is mad at her. But hey, I'm done with her. I think this is the worst reality check a person could ever have, but I certainly have learned a lot about people and trust and families. From the information that we have, Ted's mom seems to have been right about something. Ted not being actively present in his brother's life is what brought on this madness. I guess with the pandemic and us keeping our distance, it's what started his decline. He'll have to work through that with however methods of coping they provide him because Ted has cut off about half of his family. Hopefully this time forever, since I really don't see either of us getting over this anytime soon. Ash's cat unfortunately didn't make it. That's something that I will forever feel guilty about. At some point in the last year, she developed some type of kidney problem that went untreated, and while she was being abused and neglected, it became too late to help her. The vet said that after everything he was hearing, because they were calling the police on brother number one for animal abuse, and he had to kind of explain some of the situation, she was not going to make it without suffering, and he decided to put her down. Apparently, the thing with brother number one's daughter was about his severe bullying when they were younger. He never actually had much contact with her. It was about getting back at brother number one in the way he knew best. His daughter is going to be attending therapy just in case. I don't know what or how much they told her, but I assume they had to ask her questions about her contact with Ash, and eventually they would have had to explain why they were asking. I guess that's about it. I'm not leaving my husband. I'm not peeing on anybody's property. I'm going to therapy, and I made it very clear to absolutely everyone that I will never have any of them living with us for any reason. I don't care if the Pope is with them. I just feel like I lost that part of me that cared. And I guess all in all, I still did not receive that apology, but to be honest, I don't want it either. Perhaps my therapist can convince me otherwise, or perhaps it's for the best. But for now, I guess I'll just, I don't know, deal with it as I can. Peegate Update 2, the sequel. Hello everyone, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for the overwhelming amount of love and support I've received from internet strangers, all of the kind messages, and in general the concern you have shown for me and my family. I will start answering messages soon, I promise. It's just been a hard couple of days. My therapist recommended writing in order to organize my feelings and help me process what happened. And since some of you have shown interest, I guess this is as good a diary as any. I figured a post update would be a little bit easier to read for those curious of what happened next in the P-Man saga. It's been almost 2 weeks since I first opened the Pandora's box that is my husband's family, and you all know how that went. I will be forever grateful to Reddit and all of you for helping me see there were things that needed to be talked about, and looking into, even if it did end up turning my life into a P show. I also don't know how the Twitter people ended up here, but I want to thank you all the same for the support. A lot of people ask the same questions, so here are the answers. My husband, my brothers-in-law, and I. Right now, I don't really have it in me to deal with any of them, except number 6 has always been my favorite, and in general, we should have taken a cue from him and distance from the family. He truly has been the most supportive and apologetic about the whole ordeal. I did talk to number 1 and his wife to offer my help in whatever way I could, and they politely declined, telling me I had done enough. I don't know if they meant it backhandedly, but honestly, but I'm still keeping my distance from all of them. Most of the other brothers apologized for everything. Some owned up to their parts in this messed up situation, and some owned up to their past behaviors. I think this whole family is going to be financing the psychology field for a while. I did recommend that everyone should go to therapy because, as much as I was the one who started it, this is something that affects the family as a whole. My mother-in-law. Some kind Redditors pointed out that she had probably been manipulated slash abused her whole life, and I'm not denying or agreeing with that, but know that she did have a complicated life. We are no contact with her from here on out until the end of time, since she called to berate us for breaking up her family. Her words were something along the lines of, I have worked for years in order to have the lot of you together. I have forgiven every single thing each of you has ever done, talking to my husband. And this is how you repay me by letting a little bitch get in the way of our family. So there's that. Ted, my husband, he's handling everything as best as he can. He is also in therapy and working through his feelings. He keeps apologizing over and over, and in general, I think seeing what his best bud did to me because of him will haunt him for a while. We read all of your comments together, and as much as he appreciates his redemption, he says he doesn't feel he's earned it, that he has years to make up for. He also told me he understood if I wanted to divorce him, that he couldn't live knowing his family had done this to his wife. I politely declined as I still love him very much, and know that this is not his fault. We'll see how therapy goes for him. Where is Ash right now? He's still in psychiatric hold. He did ask to see Ted. That was a big no-no, and of course Ted declined. He did write him a letter, though. I don't know what it says, nor do I want to know, but Ted assured me that I would never have to see him again. After it is considered safe, he will be transferred to the West Coast where the rest of his family can deal with him. We have washed our hands of him forever. Number 3 is the one who has been in charge of his care, and he thinks moving him far away from us is what's best for everyone. Ted and him have been talking about the doctor's reports, but I haven't wanted to ask, and that's okay. Taking a break. As many of you suggested, we took a break. I quit one of my jobs and have been doing the other one for my dad's beach condo. Ted is using some of his vacation time, and his boss has been very understanding. It is the middle of January, so it's not particularly nice outside, but looking at the water is soothing, and being away from all of the crazy is nice. I got a new phone so his family couldn't contact me anymore, and it's been nice having just the 3 of us. Cat goes where I go for a couple of days. Future actions. I got an order of protection in the meantime. I don't know what precautions number 1 is taking for his daughter. I do know he made her get rid of social media, though. If any further legal action is to be taken, that will have to come from them. We are also moving. I don't know where to, but neither of us feels like our place is home anymore. We'll start looking at houses closer to my family in the next few weeks. What's behind door number 2? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there are no human body parts in meat hooks in the locked bathroom. There was, however, more of what was found in the master bathroom. I do not think he is a serial killer in the making, just very mentally disturbed with unhealthy coping mechanisms and very unhealthy emotional attachments, but I'm not a professional and cannot help him. I do think one Redditor has a very valid point of him hating women or viewing us as less, as he only did his thing towards women, me, my niece, and Sunny, his cat. But again, I'm not a professional, so I cannot comment more on it. How am I doing? Some days have been better than others. I've had therapy every other day. Thank you to the Redditors who suggested going to the bathroom with headphones slash a white noise machine. That was very helpful. My sisters are taking turns to come visit, so we have someone with us for a couple of hours in case we need anything. The backstory. Many people inquired about the type of bullying that they did to him in his childhood to justify this kind of messed upness. So here is Ted's statement on that. When you grow up with 8 brothers who are much older than you grow up to be very vulnerable to criticism, to comparisons, to expectations. Our brothers had many years when it was just them, and when the opportunity arose to take it out on someone else, he was the most vulnerable. I'm not trying to justify anyone's actions, nor am I defending anyone, but there were some things that even I couldn't protect him from that now as an adult. I can see how messed up they were, and with everything that has happened, I know my brothers have too. We all have demons we are fighting and have been fighting our whole lives. We did not have a supportive family. Everything was buried under the rug instead of providing help, and that made us grow up disconnected from reality, from what is proper, and from what is healthy. Some of us have learned better thanks to our wives' jobs and life experience. All of us have a lot to learn still, but we cannot change the past. Just own up to our mistakes and faults and try to be better tomorrow. Ugh. Miscellaneous, a few random things that popped up. Why did no one check on the cat before? We didn't have a reason to. Sunny, the cat, was not particularly social, so when they video called during quarantine, it made sense not to see her. We didn't go visit anyone during the pandemic, so we didn't know the state his things were going to be in. And before the pandemic, he was fine, his house was fine, and the cat was fine. I don't know how we were supposed to know any of this was happening to go check on the cat, or how we could have prevented it from happening. I'm sorry I failed an innocent cat, and I will be forever guilty that I couldn't help her. What are the odds of there being 10 sons and 3 of them being able to drop everything and go to the other side of the country? There weren't always 10 sons. What? As for them dropping everything to come, I don't know what answer you want. That they identified how messed up the situation was, that their spouses could deal without them for a couple of days, that they were able to take a day off work and come, that their brother asked for help and they were able to help. I honestly don't know what you want from me with those questions. Yeah, that's weird. How did you see it coming? There had to be signs. You would have to ask their family, as you already know I'm not on good terms with them right now. And Ted says none that he noticed, but that his perception might be biased since they were so close, and that he might have either been oblivious to it or thought it was normal. So that's where my life is at right now. I'm tired and sad and things still suck, but I also have things to look forward to, and a very nice therapist who constantly reassures me that I'm okay and safe now, and is teaching me how to be normal again. Sorry for the very long update, and please know that I am grateful for all of your kindness and taking the time to read through my misadventures. I wish you all, who have been nice, nothing but good things, and know that you will always have a friend here. And once I'm ready to be out in the world again, I'd be open to have more kind people like you in my life. Ellie, Ted, and Tortilla the cat. Okay. And then there's an edit. I'm sorry I wasn't clear about the 10 brother thing. Apparently, I might have caused some confusion. What I meant to say is that there weren't always 10 sons only. It is not my family or my story to tell. From what I know, they used to have 3 sisters. 2 of them died when they were little because of health issues. This is why there's a gap between 1 and 8, and then 10 Ash. 1 to 8, and then 10 and Ash. The other one is a bit more complicated than that. She used to be between number 4 and number 5. Yes, I am aware they have a lot of children. They do not believe in contraceptives to this day. Sorry about the confusion. And then there's another edit with only a link. So, what's going on here? Peegate update 5. Return to P-Town. Return to P-Town. Wait, no, part 4. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. It's Roman numerals anyway. I don't think there will be anyone here who doesn't know the story at this point, but if you want to read everything, here is the beginning, part 1, part 2, and part 3. I've written so many updates throughout the year, some well happy, some well sad, some well drunk, but decided against posting them trying to give you a proper end to the Peegate saga. But I realize real life doesn't have a proper end. There will always be more things happening. Hopefully this will be the end of it for all of us, and I can move on, and you'll get the satisfaction of how things ended up to date. I truly hope you do. I also hope writing this and giving it to you brings me the closure I need too. I'm writing this update now since I'm in a good enough place right now to open up and appease my guilt about the lack of updates. It's really nice of most of you who have checked on me throughout the year. It's crazy to me that it's been almost a year and there's still new messages and kind words filling my inbox. I'm sorry if I haven't replied, but please know that I read every single message, and it warms my heart that there's so many lovely people out there wishing a random stranger such kindness. I'll admit, a part of me is always afraid of writing an update. Part of it comes from real life repercussions of publishing things online, like being identified, which I have been. The other part is also the finality of it. It's odd, but I kind of feel like if I don't tell you guys about it, then I can just pretend it's not real. It's not particularly healthy, and my therapist has pointed it out, so I'm putting on my cat hair covered big girl pants and facing the facts. Okay. Dang it. Okay. It's a little crazy to think that this all started just a few days into the new year, and just how close we are to it again. I remember spending New Year's Eve curled on the couch with Ted and Tortilla waiting for 2021. 2021 to be a year filled with adventures and excitement. I guess I better watch my wishes for this upcoming year. I don't even know what I'll do that day. Perhaps I'll pack tortilla and we'll go on an adventure, since I certainly don't plan on just staying on the couch reminiscing about the pea show of a year we've had. I will admit, though, it was a damn comfy couch, and I miss it terribly. Wait, what? I love Ted. I think a part of me will always love him. Wait, it goes right from talking, but okay, what? Maybe it'll tell us more. I spent such a long and important period of my life with him that it just feels weird to not have him in my day-to-day life. Short story, he asked me for a divorce, so there's that. It was as amicable as a divorce under our circumstances can be. We cried during the whole process. He called me to ask for forgiveness. I begged him not to leave me, but ultimately, as much as it hurt, it's what he needed to heal from everything that's happened. We're still friends. We've been best friends for so long that even if that aspect of our relationship is closed off, we are still here for each other. I know you're not here to hear about my heartbreak, and you probably just want the hot goss and juicy details, so I'll share what information I have. Just bear in mind that now that we're split, I'm not privy to a lot of things. I'll break things apart into sections so it's a little bit easier to read, but it won't be in chronological order just to keep things organized. Okay. My ex family. Uh, dang it. Stop that. My ex-family, brother number 8, wife, 3 kids, fish, and cat. I haven't heard from them since the divorce, but prior to that, I know they adopted a kitten. His name is Bob. Brother number 7, wife, kid. No idea, haven't heard from them. Haven't asked. Brother number 6, and his girlfriend. He is not single or ready to mingle anymore. I'm really happy for him, and his new girl is truly amazing. She is a fellow editor and has read the Peegate Saga and loves him still, even with his messed up family. I've met them a few times throughout the year, and she truly is lovely. Of course, they have their ups and downs and issues with the other brothers, but overall, they're doing great. Brother number 6 actually came to visit me after Ted asked me for a divorce. He hugged me and told me that I would always be his little sister, no matter who I was married or not married to. It's been incredibly bittersweet to lose my husband and half of what I considered to be my family, but at least I got to keep a brother since I only have sisters. Brother number 5 and his wife. He has never liked me, and I finally found out why. He isn't particularly fond of Ted. As you know, the brothers were not nice at all while growing up, and apparently number 5 was the worst of the lot, and didn't like it when Ted would stand up to him or defend Ash, and hasn't liked him since they were little. I have had zero contact with him, nor do I intend to. Okay? He has never liked me, and I finally found out why, but she doesn't say why. Brother number 4, wife and kid, they have stayed pretty much the same. They were always nice. Brother number 4 did ensure that Ash was in all of the do not adopt lists of any shelter, shop, or vet around the area where they live. He says that even if he does great for the rest of his life, that he is not risking another cat or any other animal going through the same thing if his mental health declines. So at least I left that family with the reassurance that future cats will be protected from Ash, which honestly did make me feel a bit better. There's always a chance he'll get astray or someone will adopt one for him. But brother number 4 reassured me that he'd do everything in his power to make sure it didn't happen again. Brother number 3, his now wife and dog, they got married. When the saga started, they were just engaged. It was a really nice ceremony that I did not attend, even though bride and groom said that I was welcome and should come as I was family. Ted said he wanted me to come, but I honestly did not want to ruin any more family pictures. I did attend through Zoom, though, that's how I know it was nice. Brother number 2, his wife, 2 dogs, and bearded dragon. Brother number 2 was really helpful when everything happened and was one of the first to take action. He apologized profusely to me both for the original pressure of letting Ash move in, then for what happened, and he was especially apologetic on the role he played in his brother's mental health. I thanked him for the first 2 and told him the third one wasn't mine to accept. He was understanding and said that he'd work on helping his family relationships, and that it wasn't fair that I was the one to pay the price for something that wasn't my fault. After the divorce, he reached out and told me if there's anything I need, he'll be here for me. In general, it was a nice sentiment. I know he's in therapy too, so that's pretty great. Brother number 1, his wife, and 3 kids. As you know, brother number 1 was the most outraged about his whole situation since it did affect one of his daughters. Last you guys knew, they had asked me to stay away and gave them give them space, but his oldest daughter did reach out to me. She's a sweetheart and told me that she missed how life was before everything happened. I did not ask exactly what her parents told her, but I assume they had to tell her some version of events since she is old enough to ask the right questions. He did not end up pressing charges, but they did end up moving. Luckily for daughter number one, they moved to the East Coast, and she found an amazing culinary program that she's very excited about. Daughter number two, according to her sister, mother, and therapist, is doing great. Apparently, she never had much contact with Ash outside of big family events with other people, and the reason as to why he was taking his feelings out on her picture was more because she is the spitting image of her dad, not strictly about her as an individual, but about who she represents, and the fact that she is a woman. I'll go into that later. She's still in therapy, but is very annoyed about it, claiming that has nothing to do with her, and that she's upset about moving and leaving all of her friends. So Olin, brother number one's family is safe and adjusting to life on the East Coast, but still keeping their distance with me. They have not liked the weather so far, but I did tell daughter number one that she's welcome to visit anytime, and brother number one's wife and I are friendly enough that she'd let her. Brother and Brother number one and I have not spoken since everything went down. Any and all communications have been through his wife and daughters. The wicked bitch of the West. Some days, for the fun of it, I'll go into r slash just now mother-in-law and convince myself that at least mine was not as bad. Some days, some others I'll see some and wish I could have one whose worst action was wearing white to my wedding. We were never best friends, but she wasn't always awful to me. Living on the other side of the country, there was always a barrier in our relationship that I think we were we were both comfortable with, you know? We didn't have to interact with each other much and were okay with it. She had so many she had so many other dad-in-law that DIL, dad-in-law, I think, dad-in-law that lived nearby that gave her grandchildren that I just wasn't as important to her. Oh, daughters-in-law. I still called her on her birthdays and anniversaries, and she always invited me over for the holidays. Whenever we would go over the holidays, the house was always so filled with people that I was just one more or one less, and I was comfortable with that. I think that's where my doormatting with this family started. I tried to be as much help as I could and would do anything to help, which in the long run backfired on me. I think the most time we ever spent together was during our wedding planning. Our wedding was never that important to Ted or me. We just wanted to be together. Our parents, on the other hand, were dying to have a big wedding. I'm the first of my sisters to get married, and with the age gap between Ted and his older brothers, there hadn't been a big event like this in a while. I don't regret marrying Ted one bit. I could do without the big wedding, though. I do wish we could have gotten married at the courthouse with just the two of us, or maybe eloped to Vegas and gotten married by Elvis. I don't even know if they still do that, but it sounds just as if not more memorable than a huge 200 plus people wedding. I remember when we fully agreed to the big wedding. When we finally agreed to the big wedding, how ecstatic she was. It was like for the first time I was more than just another daughter in law out of the pile. It's stupid, but it felt nice, you know, to feel like I was finally accepted into the inner family, even if it was. Even if it was at the cost of a huge wedding. I, tr- I tried to involve her in the process as much as I could. With 10 sons, I figured she didn't have a lot of opportunities to do girly stuff. She was lovely to me then, perhaps to get her way, and I was just too naive to see it. I stayed the golden daughter-in-law for a while, too. I think until another grandchild was born, and then I was happy to be out of the spotlight, going back to a comfortable coexistence. It was exhausting to be in her favor with all the expectations that come with it. It's a little crazy to think back and remember feeling how much I wanted her to like me and now thinking that I'd do anything for her not to know of my existence. After Ash got committed to a psych ward, she did everything within her power to bring me down. I went no contact with her and with most of the family for a while, but slowly made amends with some of the others, of course not with her. I saw her once when she came with some of the others to pack up Ash's apartment. She went to my parents' place just to yell at me, which was awful. The worst part was that she timed it so well. My parents were at work, my sisters were either were either at work or at school. It was just me sobbing on the other side of the door. I heard the doorbell and went to open it and saw her. She didn't even pretend to be civil and just laid it out on me. She brought up every single thing I could have possibly ever done to her and her family. She told me I was a failure of a wife, that she hoped I got ruined during the divorce, and she would make sure that her son took absolutely everything from me, that she wouldn't rest until I was destitute, that she was grateful I was barren because she couldn't stand the idea of tainting her blood with mine. She said so many awful things that day, but the last one is the one that stuck the most. Ted and I were never trying to have children, but we were also not trying not to. We figured we were stable enough that if it was meant to be, it would be, but it never was. Does it make me an awful human being for being thankful? My parents' neighbors called the cops and they escorted her out of the property. That's how my sister found me just sitting on the floor crying with tortilla. She called Ted, and I guess he got the story from brother number 5, who I guess is the one who drove her, and I just never saw him. I haven't heard a peep from her since. I don't know what Ted told her or what she told him. I just know that after that day she has left me completely alone, and I'm grateful for that. Ted, the most okayest ex-husband in the universe. I could tell you 1,000 things about Ted and tell you none at all. It just feels off to not be with him, but I try to respect his needs and wishes. As you know, he asked me for a divorce on the grounds of I cannot do this to you. I will never forgive myself for putting you in this situation. I don't want you to expose. I don't want to expose you to my family ever again and let them hurt you. I was upset because he was making a decision on what he wanted from me without taking into account what I wanted myself. But after very long therapy sessions, I came to realize that while he was wording it as doing it to protect me, it truly was to protect himself, or at the very least appease his guilt. Perhaps not having me around helped him feel like nothing had happened, or he truly thought this was what was best for me. It just sucks because I always considered what was best for us, not me or him, but us as a team. But then again, his solution was to not have a team. There are days when I wake up cursing his name in shadow, some other where I just stare at my phone and consider calling him. Some days I even lose this battle and do end up calling him. He always does answer and reassures me that he's there for me. Anyway, we sold our house and he of course moved out. For a while, he moved to the West Coast to fix his family issues while the divorce was being processed. He did come back as his job is here, and he loves his job. I don't know if I should be glad, but he's still there, and he's still here in the city that was our home, or if I should hate him for ruining an entire city I love. It sucks that every place I want to go is filled with memories of him. Perhaps it's me who should move and start over somewhere else, where people don't know my dark, pea-filled past. Um, Dang it. Hang on. Just gotta. Uh, Dang it. Just trying to find the right spot. Just, sorry, I'm just literally trying to. Uh, I'll tell you a bit about Ted's adventures on the East Coast later. This section is life updates. Some people expressed concern for him and have also been sending him well wishes and comments and messages. I passed them along and he says thank you. I'll copy and paste that bit of the update I wrote, but didn't post the day he came back to town and asked me to meet. That is about you, Redditors. I apologize in advance. It was not a good day. I was never one to use Reddit much. I wonder where my life would be without you now. I probably would have let his family continue to torment me, and who knows, perhaps I'd be with Sunny right now, and Ash would have gotten all of his life dreams come true. To this day, I still get messages wishing us both well. Part of me is jealous to have to share you with him, and why does he deserve your well wishes when I'm the one who ended up alone? You guys are bigger and better people than I am. I did tell him you guys hoped he was okay. I'll admit I did tell him partly to hurt him and make him feel guilty. Perhaps I'll regret it someday, but I just needed him to feel something other than pity for me. You know what's the worst part? He had laughed, admittedly a dead man's laugh, but the sound still bothered me. It's not fair he gets to laugh. He said thank you, that one day he hopes he'll be the man you guys thought he was or could be. He also said sorry to disappoint you all, that he knows this is not the ending you wanted for us, although some of you did wish this outcome at the very beginning. I don't know if you'll have changed your mind after all of the updates, or if you stand your ground that I should leave him, but well, he has always liked being ahead of things and left me himself. Other than that, Ted is as good as he can be. Just like me, he has good days and bad days. We meet every so often and check up on each other. He tells me what's going on in his life. I tell him how I'm doing. After his mom's visit to my parents' house, I moved out again. I haven't invited him over to the new place, nor do I think I want to. I think having a place without memories of him or his family for the first time in a decade is what I need right now. Portia misses him, but I try to convince myself she understands. The P the P man himself. I try to convince myself he understands. She wrote she, but I think she meant he because he's a male. The P man himself. I don't even know where to start. When Ash was first committed after the fight with his brothers, when brother number 3, number 4, and number 8 first came to help sort everything out at the very beginning. He stayed there for a few weeks. While he was there, he asked to see Ted multiple times, which he never did. But he did at one point write him a letter. At that point, I didn't want to know what it said, but at some point I did ask Ted about it. He said he had written telling him to stop asking to see him, that he needed to prioritize himself and his life over him for once in his life, and stop putting him, Ash, above his own needs. After a few weeks, brother number 3 arranged for him to be transferred over to the West Coast. I'm not sure if he was transferred into a different facility or if he was released into their custody. Once that was finalized, which took about 2 months, is when their mom and brother number 5 and number 7 came to pack up his apartment and officially moved him back west. Eventually, or right then, as I mentioned, I'm not sure of that exact timeline, he moved in with their mom. Brother number 2 was the one in charge of overseeing he undergoes treatment, and I trust that he continues to do so. When Ted went over, I guess, to have it out with his family, it was hard. He met with his brothers first. I'm not sure if all of them were there, but I guess the most involved ones were. From what Ted told me, brother number 3 told them a bit of what he had been talking with his doctors while he was here in the East Coast. He was treated for a psychotic episode, I think. After that, he's been in treatment ever since. I'm not sure what the exact diagnosis is, but they did talk about a lot of things. They talked about their upbringing and how their bullying had an effect on Ash, how Ted's protectiveness created an unhealthy emotional attachment, and a few other things came to light. I don't know if these are conclusions they came to, or if they were told by Ash's therapist, or exactly how they got there, but this is what Ted told me when he came back. It was weird listening to him talk about it. He was so detached, like he was talking about someone else's family, but I guess it's his way of processing things. I don't know. Many of you asked at some point or another what type of bullying they could have done to make him turn out like this. Well, Ted asked some of those questions. Ted answered some of those questions for me. For the sake of being consistent, I won't tell you who did what. Per usual, you can choose your own brother to fit your narrative. Just that while some brothers are remorseful and regretful for their behaviors, apparently some others aren't. Many of you also took a few guesses at the type of tormenting they did, and some were more accurate than others. Apart from your regular standardized bullying of punching, humiliating, mocking, tricking, and insulting, there was also locking in cabinets, stealing his clothes, leaving him outside all night long, locking all bathrooms so he'd have to wet himself, threatening him with a variety of items and weapons, leaving him at places and making him walk miles to their home in a variety of weathers, walk miles to their home walk miles to their home in a variety of weathers, put him in diapers, antagonize him, tie him up and drag him on ATVs through the property, dumping water on him and leaving him in cold weather, itching powder in his underwear. I could go on, but you get the picture. I know some people don't get along with their siblings and that bullying and sibling rivalry is a thing, but it just seems so evil when he was describing it. What could he have possibly done to deserve it? I don't get it. It doesn't excuse his behavior, but it does explain a little bit of it. His hatred for women comes from a similar place. The general consensus is that he blames his mother for not protecting him from all of that, making his view on women as weak and useless. If his own mother couldn't protect him from his own brothers, who could? I guess in general his brothers didn't help with that growing up, because they would alienate him from any girls who showed any interest in him. That's how his emotional attachment to Ted began. He was the only one standing up and defending him, but we already know how that ended. For now, and hopefully ever, Ash is staying west. I'm sorry I don't have more definitive answers for you. I'm sure many of you were expecting them, but I also can't bring myself to ask any more questions. When this all started, I was right out of school. When this all started, when I was right out of school, I kept two pairs of shoes that had been part of the pee incident. I threw most of everything else out but those two pairs. The first pair doesn't matter to you guys. The second were the first thing I bought with my own money from my very first internship while I was still in school. They represented the very first step, hence why shoes, to my independence. Having to quit both of my jobs, moving back in with my parents, and losing Ted sucked. And I just thought of those shoes stashed in a box and how unfair it was that I had lost all that the shoes represented. I'm slowly building my life back up again, moving to my new apartment, and getting a new job are the first steps. I guess I'll see what the future holds for me and Tortilla. I haven't worn them since they were peed on, but maybe I'll wear them again someday when I feel like a whole person again. Why would you, if he, that's, eh. Happy holidays, Reddit. I don't know how mine will be, but I certainly hope yours are filled with light and joy. Much love from my tattered heart. Ellie and Tortilla the cat, edited to fix the links. Wow, that was really, really, really long. Hang on. Yep, I've been recording for over an hour. Alright. I'm going to. Alright, we're gonna read this last story, and then we're gonna be done. And this one is. Hang on. So this one is from the Am I the Asshole subreddit, but it's like really similar content to um the previous one. Am I the asshole for giving my brother-in-law an ultimatum to leave my house after he refused to stop peeing in water bottles? And this has been labeled as not the asshole. That's the verdict on this. My brother-in-law, Neil, 29, lost his dog to cancer 8 months ago. He got into depression, neglected his job, which caused him to lose his rental apartment. He moved in with me and my husband 6 months ago. Neil doesn't work. He doesn't do anything. He uses stuff of mine, takes money from me, and says he'll pay me for it, but he never does. My husband says he's struggling and needs time to heal. Again, if someone was doing this stuff, then I would like sit him down and like talk to him and tell him you need to stop doing this or you're out of here. Like, it bothers me that this guy's just saying, oh, he's struggling. Okay, so that doesn't make that behavior okay. Like, okay, if someone just went up to someone and like stabbed them, would they would they be able to be let go because they're struggling, or whatever, their dog just died? No, no. And by the way, I lost my dog to cancer, but from I didn't start stealing from people or, e- taking other people's stuff or whatever. It's annoying. Anyway. My husband was on business for an entire week. Since he is the one responsible for taking the trash out, I started doing it while he is away. I started taking trash out every night, but that's when I started finding a few water bottles filled with a clear yellow liquid. Pee bottles. I was confused, but it was obvious those came from the house, and I figured they belonged to Neil. I went to have a talk, but he denied, denied, denied. I let it go thinking it was a one-time thing, but I started seeing more and more of those bottles and I felt sick in my stomach. He kept denying till I walked in his room and found a bunch of empty and full bottles that contained piss. I was livid. I confronted him and he admitted that he stays up at night in bed talking to girls on dating apps and he feels too tired to get up and use the bathroom. So he uses the empty water bottles to pee. He said I shouldn't be mad because he at least throws them in the trash later. That's that's really disgusting. That's really, really gross. I had a fight with him because he kept doing it. Then waited till my husband came home and gave his brother an ultimatum. I told him he has a week to leave. my husband that said that first of all, his brother is obviously dealing with some stuff and cannot be blamed, but I pointed out that he's fine enough to be on dating apps. He explained that we should encourage him to find a woman so he can move out and he becomes her problem. He then reminded me of Neil's tremendous loss and his intense grief that caused him his livelihood and apartment. I refused and put my foot down. Now I'm being called heartless and unsympathetic for wanting to kick his brother out when he's struggling. My husband has stopped talking to me till I agreed to leave his brother alone and drop my ultimatum. That's stupid. Not you, OP. Your husband is stupid. And your brother-in-law is, yeah, he's probably sad that his dog died, but geez, what the fuck is he, what is he thinking? And by the way, no woman is ever gonna have him if he's constantly stealing money from them and then peeing in water bottles and all of that stuff. Like, what the heck? Just use the bathroom, man. Just use the bathroom. Like, it exists for a reason, and having peeing in water bottles and then having other people deal with it because you don't throw it, because you throw it in the trash and other people have to, gross. And then, your husband not sticking up for you. He's being a jerk. And he says that he's dealing with some stuff and cannot be blamed. Okay, so if you went into a convenience store and, I don't know, stole, like, a bunch of candy bars, the police would still arrest him and take him to jail. He can't be blamed? Come on. Yes, he can be blamed. Your husband just doesn't want to blame him because, I don't know, I mean, I get it. He wants to stick up for his brother, but you should stick up for you because you're his freaking girlfriend or wife or whatever. You're his freaking, yeah, you're his wife. Not the asshole. Neil needs a therapist and perhaps a little tough love. He's been with you for 6 months. Your husband's approach of leave him alone while he figures it out clearly isn't working. I think setting a firm deadline is appropriate, and you need to be prepared for what happens at the end of the week if Neil is still there. Perhaps you move out to show you're serious about something needing to change. Your husband is coming from a place of love, but sometimes in trying to support the people we love too much, we prevent them from helping themselves. The leave him alone while he figures it out is like classic toxic masculinity. Can't ask for help if they don't get better, they weren't strong enough. Can't go to therapy, because that's for women. You're 100% spot on. Not the asshole. This is absolutely not normal and needs help to address. Yeah, this is weird. And then someone else says, it sounds like the real plan is don't interfere with the important work of suckering some poor woman into being his new caretaker slash financial supporter. Sounds like OP has already been suckered by both of them. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be with someone like that. Uh, I hate to point out the obvious, but stop providing anything in your house with a bottle. No water, no soda, no nothing in a bottle for anyone. Do you think this guy is going to go to the store to spend money he doesn't have to have a bottle to piss in? I thought not. Okay, now carry on. I live pretty close to our town's fraternity row, and my only caveat to this approach is that brother-in-law may elect to pee out the window or into potted plants. I cannot believe this is a thing, but it happens. What the fuck? Yeah, this isn't cool. I mean, like, this isn't uh, pretty crazy, but like, why are people encouraging this? Why is your husband encouraging this? Alright, can't, uh, just trying to find a new comment. Like, there are all these comments that stem from the previous comment, but I'm just trying to find a new comment. Okay. Yeah, not the asshole. To be really blunt, you don't normally get 6 months to grieve a person, let alone a dog. I mean, obviously you can grieve for your whole life, but you are expected to get your shit together and go to work and get stuff done. Failure to do so isn't normal grief, it's a mental health issue. Your brother-in-law clearly has problems. He needs therapy, and he needs boundaries. Taking him and his problems on is a huge deal, and it sounds like the extent of it wasn't known when you agreed he could live with you. I'm not sure what to do because your husband also gets a big say in this, but it's a big conversation, and you are certainly not the asshole for your view. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, this person is right. Like, you, you gotta get on with your life. Like, Like, yeah. And I just want to say, this doesn't excuse anything in this story, but I do want to say, I hate how you say, oh, you don't normally get 6 months to grieve a person, let alone a dog. Anyone who's lost a pet can tell you it's like losing a member of the family. When we lost Dasher, it was like I was losing a member of the family. It was really upsetting. It was really hard. So you can't exactly compare, like, losing a dog to losing a person. And my friend just lost his cat, which is really sad. I mean, like, I know he's really upset about it. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna actually, let's read one comment stemming from this because this is kind of peeking out. I'm not sure what to do because your husband also gets a say in this. Both people in a couple get a say on who is invited to stay with them for how long, whether or not they should pay anything, and any conditions they should have to meet. And once a guest starts peeing in bottles and keeping them in the house, all agreements are off, any degree of welcome expires, and the only say anyone should have is pack up your stuff and go. Or else you should pack up your stuff and go. P.S. If this freeloader has been living off his brother and brother's wife for 8 months, he should be civil and decent enough to take out the trash for them. Why is he sitting on his useless butt when you have to take out the trash that contains his bottles of pee? Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna pee in bottles and then put them in the trash, at least take out the trash yourself. But like, if my as soon as my wife's or life partner or whatever started using, as soon as my brother-in-law started using my partner's like pee bottles. I mean, started using my wife's things or my life partner's things, and stealing money from them, and then saying they would pay them back for it. Then I'd like sit down with them and be like, "Stop that, or you're out of here." Like, if I found out you stole from them again, then you are out of there. Anyway, I'm super tired right now, as you can tell. It's 10:30, so I'm gonna go. I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. You are valid, and don't forget to be good to yourself and to others. And I will see you on the next video, which will be in a few days.